In this video, we're going to learn about direct variation and partial variation and how to identify the difference between each of them. So now we're going to go through some examples of EQAO questions that involve direct and partial variation. So in our first example, we have a bus is rented for a class field trip. The transportation cost for the trip is made up of $225 to rent the bus, $50 for gas, and then $2 for each bus seat. So, which relation below describes the total transportation cost for the trip if C is the total cost in dollars and N is the number of seats? So one of the best strategies for solving an EQAO question or any multiple choice question is to cover up the solutions or don't look at the solutions at all and try to answer it yourself on your own. So first of all, there are two things that are adding up to the initial value. So we have the $225 to rent the bus, and then $50 for gas. So that adds up to $275 initial value. And then it's $2 for each bus seat. So our answer is going to be C equals 2N plus 275. So let's look and see if that is an option. So it is. If we look down at the last option, C equals 2N plus 275, so it's D. But let's just take a bit of time and talk about why the other ones are wrong. So we can actually get rid of these two altogether, A and C, because the initial value, the B, was 225. So that was wrong. So it had to be B or D. But then if you take a look, we have a negative number here. So it's not going down for every person that rides the bus. The price is going to go up. So it wouldn't be negative. So we can get rid of that. So it does leave us to the choice that we did select because we have C equals 2N plus 275. In our next example, we have a computer is expected to decrease in value over time. The relationship between the value V of the computer in dollars after T years is written as the following. So V equals negative 300T plus 2100. So a line representing the relationship is graphed. So we have it going downwards. So that makes sense. We have a negative slope, so it's going down and to the right over time. So it says, what does the V-intercept of the line represent? So if we take a look here, the V-intercept would be the initial value, what you start off with. So it's not the first one. It's not the decrease in value per year, so that's wrong. The initial value of the computer, that is the right answer, so it's that one. It's not the number of years until the value is 0, that's wrong. The V-intercept is over here, so that's when time is 0. And then the number of years the computer would work, this graph is nothing about that at all, so it has to be G. Okay, in our next one we have a table of values representing a linear relationship. And the question is, which equation represents this relation? So let's take a look here. So we have at time 0, distance is 5. Okay, and then at time 1, it's 15. At distance 2, it's 25, and so on. So if we take a look at how much each time it's going up, when this goes up by 1, this is going up by 10. And then this is going up by 10, and so on. So our first difference is 10. So the question is, which equation represents this relation? So it is going to be D, and our slope is 10. It's going up by 10 for every 1. So it's going to be 10T. And then we need to figure out, okay, so is there an initial value? There is an initial value. It is D. So the correct answer is 10T plus 5. So the answer is C. It's not direct variation, so we can get rid of these two because there is that initial value of 5. And really, if you know the initial value is 5, you didn't have to do any of the figuring because there was only one that showed the initial value of 5. So in our next example, we're shown a graph, and it says it's showing the cost versus the number. And the question is, which of the following describes a difference between lines 1 and 2? So the first statement says line 2 has a larger initial cost. Well, no, the initial cost for both line 1 and 2 is 200, so that is false. Line 1 has a larger initial cost. Well, if line 2 doesn't, then line 1 can't either. Line 2 has a greater rate of change. That is incorrect because line 2 is less steep than line 1. So the only answer that can be correct is D. Line 1 has the greater rate of change.